Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. As the man said, my name is Scott Nason, broadcasting from the studios of ESPN 1400 on 3 Mile Road on this Monday night, September 16th, 2019. The sun is shining, and we have a lot of sports to cover. The Game is the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, heard every Monday night from 6 to 8 o'clock on ESPN 1400. Also, as I mentioned, heard online at thegamesportshow.com, or go right to the podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. And we are joined right off the hop by our co-host and all-around good guy, coming all the way from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, via the International Bridge and his truck, the one and only Mr. Dave McKeag, joining us here in studio. Kegger, how you doing tonight, sir?
Scotty, as always, fantastic introduction. I love it. How you doing, my friend?
Excuse me, Dave. I'm doing wonderful here. We're already in mid-September.
Yes.
The local sports season has officially started, as other teams are just about to start, and others will be starting here in the next couple weeks. So this is an exciting time of year. I love summer. Don't get me wrong. Being at the beach, getting the sunshine and the good weather.
Tan, buddy. The tan
work this year. But my favorite season is fall. I love it. And we have a lot of local sports to cover, Dave. So what do you say? Let's give it a shot.
There is a lot to cover. And guess what? The Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show is there to give it to you all the time.
Yes, it is indeed. We almost practiced that. It sounded like, Dave.
Definitely. Not scripted.
Non-scripted show indeed. We do have some high school football to get to. We'll get to the U.S. side first before, Dave, you can tell us a little bit about what's going on the Sault, Ontario side. Let's start with the Sault High Blue Devils in a game you heard on our sister station, 1230 WSOO, with Dave Watson on Friday night. Blue Devils came into the contest 2-0 against the Marquette Redmen. You knew it was going to be a tough game because Marquette's a good team. Even though they hadn't won a game, they played two very good Traverse City teams. Well, it was all Marquette, especially on the special teams, as the Redmen shut out the Blue Devils by the score of 31-0. And it doesn't get any easier for Sault High this week, as they are going to take on always tough Petoskey. That game Friday night at Van Sitters Field, and you can hear that game around 6:40. Pregame show, kickoff at 7 with the one and only Dave Watson on our sister station at 1230 WSOO. The big game of the weekend happened on Saturday. The Pickford Panthers, a team that many thought were going to basically cakewalk through the regular season and into the playoffs. There were some that thought maybe this would be the game that gave the Pickford Panthers fits. Well, those people that thought that, they were correct, as Jimmy Story threw 6 interceptions, as the Pickford Panthers, Dave, lost their first regular season game in over 3 years, losing to Powers North Central by the score of 20-14. This breaks a 26-game regular season winning streak for the Panthers, whose last regular season loss was September 9th, 2016 against Engadine. And this, Dave, also the first ever conference loss in the Great Lakes 8-player conference. Pickford will be at Superior Central on Saturday, Dave. But, you look at this loss, and obviously Pickford got to be disappointed, but if there's a good loss, I think this is it. Only because, now you got that streak out of the way. Maybe the little adversity. I honestly think this isn't a bad loss for them.
After you win so many in a row, especially, I like to use the term that you're overdue for a loss. It's obviously great to have a perfect season at all times, but it's also great to learn to lose. You end up building as a team more equally. I like when a team doesn't go undefeated because you face that adversity. You face a difficulty amongst each other in that team environment. The coaches have to do different plays. They have to become accustomed to different kind of play calling or kind of situations in the game. And yeah, it's fantastic to win every game. It doesn't matter if you're playing a real life game or a video game, but you know what? And all sides around, it's great to learn to lose at the same time. And you know what? Despite, you said it, hit the nail around the head there. It was a good loss. And people say, what's a good loss? A loss is a loss. Sure. But you know what? In this situation, it was.
And this is a team that's won state championships over the past few years, and also a team, you look at it, you're playing on the road against a team that's undefeated. You throw 6 interceptions, you only lose by 6. Not the worst thing ever. And so Pickford will more than likely bounce back. And again, they'll be at Superior Central on a Saturday. Other games around the Eastern Upper Peninsula on Friday was St. Ignace improving to 2-1 as they top Charlevoix at home by the score of 26-21. The Saints will hit the road for the first time Friday night when they take on Johannesburg Lewiston. How about the Brimley Bays? 3-0 for the first time since 2017 as they ran roughshod over the Iron Mountain North Dickinson Nordics on Friday night in Brimley, winning by the score of 48-6. And the Bays will have a key game Friday night where they will take on 2-1 Rudyard. You can hear that game, Dave, with Matt Pocket on Oldies 93 and yours truly. Going to be doing some color commentating Friday night because I have a Soo High broadcast filling in for Dave a week from Saturday. So got to get the football vibes going in the broadcast department.
That's a stacked announcing crew of you, Mr. Sir Matt Pocket there. That's fantastic.
That's going to be fun. Never done a game with Matt, so really looking forward to that Friday night. Again, you can hear that on our EUP Game of the Week on our sister station, Oldies 93. Speaking of Rudyard, in a game you heard on Oldies 93, winning by the score of 27-26 in overtime over the defending state champion Rapid River Rockets. And Dave, they won via an extra point. And I was talking to Matt, and I've kind of put this question out there to a few of my friends. Believe it or not, I do have a few friends that in general, but have knowledge of high school football. And I'm wondering, and if our listenership is listening, the last time an EUP team won via a kick. Now, you don't see a lot of kicking in high school football in this area. You don't see field goals. You don't see extra points. I've barely seen any of those, but to win a game, that it's unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's ever happened, at least in recent memory.
No, and getting that, it's a lot different than the professional level in football.
And we saw some of those kickers struggle yesterday, too.
Hey, kickers, it's a very tough position. Maybe people may think it's easier, but trust me, it's not. You're under a lot of pressure. It doesn't matter if you're going for an extra point or going for the win or going for the tie. It doesn't matter. But in the high school levels and the junior levels, you don't see that as much over in Sioux Canada, here in Sioux, Michigan, and throughout the UP. So it's great to see that. It gives the fans a little bit of edge, more excitement. It adds something to that game. And overall, to win on a kick, I tell you, if I was that kicker, I'd be celebrating real hard.
And they were in Rudyard on Friday night. Again, they'll be in Brimley on Friday. Cedarville improves to 2-1 as they defeat Kearney Nadeau by the score of 54-6. The Trojans will travel to Rapid River on Friday. Newberry, the other undefeated team in the Eastern Upper Peninsula, improving to 3-0 as they make the long trek to Ontonagon, don't you know? And they defeat the Gladiators by the score of 46-6. They have another long road trip on Friday, traveling to Crystal Falls Forest Park. And finally, Engadine, 2-1 to start the season as they crush Stevenson by the score of 66-14. They will travel to Kearney Nadeau, either way, on Saturday. So, Dave, after we're a third of the way through the high school football season here in the state of Michigan, and the teams in the Eastern Upper Peninsula are all above 500. You have Newberry and Brimley 3-0. You have the Pickford, Cedarville, Rudyard, Engadine, St. Ignace, and the Sioux all 2-1. So you got to give it up for local football. Great start for the EUP teams.
It's looking like the program is definitely on the ascending side is the word I'd like to use, most certainly. And when you have kind of that growth in the community of that, the fans really get behind it. And also, not even just the fans, you get the younger generation that want to be a part of that growing program, right? And all in all, it all starts with the community love. It all starts with the support of the community and also just the development. It goes to the coaches that tirelessly volunteer their time, and they add a zero to their paycheck every week. Most coaches in those ranks, for the most part, some coaches not. I know in Canada they add zeros each week because coaching is on a volunteer basis for the most part. Either way, to see programs grow, that's the whole point why coaches do it.
Dave, Sioux Ontario High School football. I know there was a game on Friday night, also a junior game on Thursday. Tell us about some of that action. What do you got?
Well, you had the junior football rank with the Cora Colts defeating the White Pines, go 2-0 on the season. That Cora program it's unspeakable how amazing that program is. They are stacked and headed by Tom Mannon, who's a big fan of the show, and you can give Cora a follow on Instagram. They're wild on Instagram. I like to say they're absolutely hilarious to be following. They won 28-0. And White Pines has fielded a junior program. Unfortunately, they're not fielding a senior program. So hopefully this White Pines program can get it going. They did drop to 0-2, and the Cora program will be back in action Friday night against Superior Heights, while White Pines will take on St. Mary's. St. Mary's and Superior Heights in high school in the senior ranks of football. The St. Mary's defeated them by a score of 25-23.
Close one,
game.
yeah.
tight game. You know what? Everyone has the Cora Colts being the favorites in this, but you know what? St. Mary's and Superior are a pretty good team, especially St. Mary's. And Superior Heights played them real close. A lot of people thought St. Mary's would win by a touchdown or two for sure in this game, but definitely had Carter Ianni with 116 yards rushing on Friday night, and also they hung on to the 25-23 win over Superior Heights. Nick Pagnotta threw a pair of touchdowns for St. Mary's, and also the St. Mary's returns to action September 27th against Cora, and Cora had a weekend this past weekend at Escanaba.
Yeah, tough matchup. They're a good team.
Escanaba is a very good football program. But you know what? Either way, they get the practice to play, and I love to see that. I think I would love to see Sioux Ontario, Sioux Michigan, and the Upper Peninsula more have those exhibition games. But it did count for Escanaba's games, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong with that, but Tom Annett was telling me. But either way, you get that practice, you get to try different scenarios, plays that you maybe wouldn't try in a game right away until you practice it, and they do get that opportunity. They got some good photographs that they upload on their Instagram page. Definitely go check that out. But that high school senior football program all around, you have Cora Colts, who are definitely seen as the favorites, but St. Mary's Superior doing a great job. But I really like to see White Pines right now in that junior program. And I remember when I was in high school, the Dunn and Bowading was around. Now those schools have combined to be Superior Heights. St. Basil's was around. That is now combined with St. Mary's. There's not as many programs. So I'd like to see the growth expand beyond Ontario to Michigan or throughout even more Northern Ontario. But to see White Pines have that junior team, I hope they can do something going into the forward years because they had such a strong sport and athletic program before.
Dave, we're going to take our first break on the game. We come back. We have a lot of junior hockey to talk about. We're going to talk about the Sioux Thunderbirds weekend, a tough weekend for the T-Birds, dropping a pair of games to Blind River Eagles. They lose in overtime to Espanola on Sunday. We're going to talk about the NOJHL along with the Sioux Indians and the Ontario Hockey League. The games
on the corner.
Start for real on Friday night. We're going to get a preview of the Sioux Greyhounds and more. That's coming up next on The Game here on ESPN 1400. Welcome back to The Game on ESPN 1400. Also heard online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason and Dave McKeag here in the ESPN 1400 studios, joined by our broadcast engineer, Alyssa Bradley. And Dave, let's continue the local sports and let's move into the NOJHL season as both the Sioux Thunderbirds and Sioux Eagles were in action this weekend. And on Friday night, the Thunderbirds 2-0 took on the Blind River Beavers 2-0 in Blind River. And it was Beavers captain Caleb Sare scoring in the third period and also assisting twice as the Blind River Beavers beat the Thunderbirds by the score of 4-1. And then the Thunderbirds back in action at home. Actually, that was the Friday game. They also would win another game there over the weekend, Dave. So Thunderbirds lose 2 to the Blind River Beavers. Blind River 4-0 to start the season. Boy, that Kyle Brick just does wonderful things in Blind River.
Oh, he's continuing to impress, certainly. And I actually, prior to coming here, met with Thunderbirds general manager Trevor Zachary for a little show meeting, but also to discuss a little bit of the weekend. And he commented saying that his boys put out they weren't able to match the effort that Blind River was able to bring forward, but also the team is battling a little bit of suspensions and injuries and whatnot. He did not use that as an excuse, but this is still early in the year, and Blind River is starting right off the gate hot. The Thunderbirds started hot the first 2 games. This weekend they looked a little bit out of it, and he's hoping that they're able to bounce back in their next game, and he believes that they will, does Trevor Zachary for the Thunderbirds. But Kyle Brick, as you were just saying, with the Blind River Beavers program, and you know me, I'm obviously being from Sault Ste. Marie and playing on the Thunderbirds and also the Eagles, my heart has also been in Blind River. That's where I started and ended my NOJHL career, and as one of the captains my last year. And that program was at a rebuilding level when I was there, but then the rebuild went backwards to having an 0 season. And now Kyle Brick, the last not just 1 or 2 years, last 3 years, has been absolutely fantastic. That program has ascended, the word I love using, to absolute almost perfection. This year it started perfect. The community's backing them up. They're really buying into what Brick is putting down, and the players are having fun doing it right now. And Kyle Brick, I'm almost speechless because of how fantastic he's done.
Speechless. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I cannot put into how many words how proud I am of that program to see how much growth it has had. And you know what? That community is starving for a championship caliber team. They've had it the last couple of years. They're certainly enjoying it.
The Beavers, as I mentioned, would win both games over the weekend. They would win at the John Rhodes Community Center on Saturday by the score of 6-4. Lucas Adams had a pair of goals for Blind River in that one. The Thunderbirds now 2-2 on the season. They got a busy week. They'll be home to Rayside, Balfour on Wednesday, and then a home-and-home series against the Sioux Eagles starting Saturday night at Polar Stadium. That'll be our first game here on ESPN 1400 with yours truly and Larry Pozzebon Saturday night. Face off at 7 o'clock with the pregame show around 6:40, 6:45. Looking forward to that, Dave. We'll get to the Eagles in a moment, but Thunderbirds, are any worries? I know it's early, but losing 2 games this weekend to Blind River, any concerns there? Or is it just early season hockey?
You know what? I'll say from my own personal opinion and from conversations with people involving the team and just some other scouts that I've talked about to it. My own personal opinion is that it's still early. It doesn't. It's 4 games in. Anything can happen. They're a very good hockey team, are the Thunderbirds. They are battling suspensions and injuries, which is not an excuse. It's just that when the full team's not together on the ice, especially when the Bazarin brothers are not playing, that's a big loss for that hockey club. That grit and that scoring touch. So all in all, this year, I'll say to start off the year, no Thunderbird fans need to panic. It's only 4 games in. There's still a lot more games to go, well over 45 games. And you know what? Blind River's a really good hockey team as well. So there's nothing to shake your head at or be upset about, because it's not like they got blown out of the water each game either. There's a couple goals they lost by. The other side of things, talking to individuals that are involved with the program, again, it was that injuries have plagued them so far in these last couple games and suspensions, but it's just getting back to the basics. You know what? There's no panic mode. There's no worry mode at this time. John Parko is going to steer that ship right. He knows exactly what he's doing. The players buy into what they're doing. They were on the ice today practicing. They were practicing real hard, getting a lot of flow drills going. And on the other side, the Sioux Greyhounds are practicing too, after I know we're going to get into one of the tough losses in their last preseason game, but both Sioux teams battling hard because they know the expectations are high, and the Sioux community likes to see playoff hockey and strong teams put on the ice. Thunderbirds have done that, and I believe they'll continue to do that.
Moving on to the Sioux Eagles, Dave, they just had 1 game over the weekend, still searching for their first win, and Zachary Matejsik had a power play goal in overtime, helping the Espanola Express rally from a 3-goal deficit and top the Sioux Eagles by the score of 6-5 on Sunday. The Eagles will get a pair of goals from Raph Praisner, Sioux Ontario native, and had a 3-0 lead before Espanola would come all the way back and get the victory. So the Eagles right now, Dave, they played 3 games. They're 0-1-1-1. They had a shootout loss against Rayside, overtime loss. So they do have 2 points, but they do not have a victory. They'll have 1 more road game on Friday before their home opener on Saturday. Friday, they'll take on the undefeated Blind River Beavers and then come back and take on the Thunderbirds Saturday night at Puller Stadium, Sunday night at the John Rhodes Community Center. Eagles, not a team that starts quickly over the last few years, but a team that usually picks up a couple players and gets it going. Any concerns right now for the Eagles, Dave, early on?
You see, before the season started, they had a lot of returning guys come back to the team. And I like how they've recruited from Sioux, Ontario. They got some good hockey players there from Sioux, Ontario as well. So, you know what? They're playing against the Beavers this weekend, and it's going to be a good test for that Eagles team. And obviously a good challenge for Doug Laprade to see what types of matchups his lines can go against the Blind River Beaver forwards, and also for what kind of play that the Blind River Beavers can be exposed against. The Eagles, from what I recall the Eagles being and the kind of players I see them roster and ice right now, they're a pesky team. You know what? They're a hard-working team. They have a lot of speed. They use their speed to be successful. And you know what? They have players that have been here before. They have players that know how to put puck in the net, and they also have goaltending that can stop the puck. It's just a matter of buying into what Doug Laprade is saying, everyone getting on the same page and trying to get that win. And despite a tough loss, when you have a 3-goal lead, you don't want to blow that. That's a lead that you have to hold. Okay. I only know 1 team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, that are famous for blowing leads. Okay. And that's at the professional level. Junior level, people say it or not, it's actually harder to hold a 3-goal lead because it's just that momentum and just that the youth side of hockey. But the Eagles right now are in a situation, I feel, that they don't need to be worried either. It is still very, very early in the season. It's not like you're 35 games in and you're 1-34. Okay. You're just 4, 5, 6 games in for some teams. You're around that area. You're just buying in. Everyone's just getting to know each other. Some players are also just being recruited and traded for right now. So Eagles, like you just said, Scott, just a few moments ago, that they're going to bring in some guys. They're going to help round that team. And I don't think it's time to worry for Eagle fans.
In the way too early standings, Dave, the Espanola Express are in second place. Now, if you would have said at any point in the season that Espanola would be in second place, you got to give credit to them. You know, they're a team that's been on the bottom of the West for the last few years, and they're trying to climb up, you know, in the standings. Granted, it's very early, and they're still going to have probably some struggles, but good start for Espanola.
Definitely, and it's a lot of good hockey for these people in the Algoma region, the Michigan region, Espanola, everything to see because there's a lot of good teams being iced, and all in all, give credit to them. Still very early though, so I'm not looking too far into it.
Sioux Indians were in action this weekend. Midget AAA Indians dropped their home opener at the Taffy Able Arena on Saturday against Compuware. We had Zeke Canisto in last week, their general manager, losing to Compuware on Saturday by the score of 6-2 to fall to 1-3 on the season. Grant Wickham and Logan Millenhausen scored the Indians goals. The Indians will return back to action this week. A big showcase tournament in Blaine, Minnesota, the NAHL, NAPHL showcase. They'll face the under-18 Northeast Generals. And boy, there's a lot of eyes on that tournament. The Eagles, when they were in the NAHL, were in that one. There's a lot of good hockey players in that tournament.
A lot of good hockey players and a lot of good professional scouts in the stands watching and keep an eye on tabs of those respective hockey players as well.
Speaking of good hockey players, Dave, the Sioux Greyhounds completed their exhibition season with a 2-1 record. They did drop their finale yesterday afternoon at the Memorial Gardens to the Sudbury Wolves, a very good Sudbury team. Watch out for them this year. By the score of 6-1, Ryan O'Rourke scored the only goal for the Hounds. Goaltender Christian Propp made 17 saves. The Hounds will start the regular season on Friday night against a much improved Flint Firebirds team. You can hear that game on our sister station, Rock 101, with Jerry Liscombe Jr. The Greyhounds will also take on North Bay on Saturday night. They'll play 5 of their first 6 games at home. Dave, I just want to go through a little bit on the Hounds and your expectations, but looking at the preseason, 2 wins, 1 loss, tough loss, physical Sudbury team kind of pushed them around yesterday from the people I talked to at the game. What are your expectations for a team that's been above 500 now, I think 7 straight seasons, has had a very long run? Some people think that run could continue a little bit this year. Others think it could be a tough year. What do you think?
They'll be above 500 this year. I cannot see them not being above 500 this year. And for people to say that they're not going to be, I want to know the reason. Because, yes, you're losing a couple overage guys. We got a lot of guys that are returning to this team, a lot of good talent. And obviously, I've said this endlessly on the show. I'm a big Ryan O'Rourke fan. He's going to spearhead that decor. You know what? There's going to be a lot of competition in net, and it won't be long until Malik comes over here from overseas. This team knows
what's that's happening.
I think it's going to happen at the same time that Yarmouth Pitlick did last year. It's going to be the same thing. That's where I think it's be towards near the end of the year, going into the playoffs. And you know what? What I like about this team is, you know what? I was at the Roads today. Obviously, I mentioned before I came in, and there was the Thunderbirds and Hounds on each side of the pads, and I was looking at the Hounds practice. The intensity in that practice after the disappointing loss of Sudbury to end their preseason, let's just say the coaching staff wasn't tolerating it today. They were having some hard-working drills out there. The team was really working hard at breaking a sweat, let me tell you. And the goalies were at the other end getting some drills done as well. The team is focused on winning. The intensity I see with this team every practice, and the team that's been able to ice each year, you cannot put blindfolds on that. This team is going to be above 500. This team will be a good hockey team. They'll be top 5 in the conference, in my opinion, and they will be a second-round team. Are they a championship team based on this? I don't know. I don't want to go that far and say that they're going to be that. It's still very early. The first puck drop hasn't happened yet. It happens this Friday. So all in all, anyone who doubts this team, do not do that yet. This team is promising, and they're going to be successful, I think.
Looking at the West Division, I think most people would agree that Saginaw is probably the team to beat this year, Dave, the team that knocked the Hounds out of the playoffs last year. And you have a couple, Sioux Ontario natives, Cameron Baber, Nick Porco, among others. You have a lot of NHL draft picks, Giroux, Jenkins, along with Porco, Wild, and Millman. The Saginaw team's good. They got an excellent goaltender. Are they the team to beat right now in the West?
They are, but like you said, even before we talk about the Hounds of Sudbury, you know, there's a team to watch. They got a prospect coming up who might go top 3 this year. I know you're going to jump in to that, but I got to say Sudbury will be up there to challenge. Saginaw is 100% the team to beat, and you can never count out London. I know people are looking at London this year, and they might not be as strong as they were last year, but you know what? That London organization knows how to get players.
They're
They're
always
good. They got the money to recruit. They got the name to recruit. They got everything under that. But Saginaw, yes, will be the team in the West.
Yeah, one of our loyal listeners, Don Supa, was over at the game yesterday, and the gentleman you're talking about is Quentin Byfield. He's 6'4", is fast, is strong, and he could go. Some are saying even number one in this upcoming draft. And so Sudbury's a team to watch. Obviously, they're not in the West, even though their proximity is close to the Sioux Greyhounds.
Yeah,
they're in another division, but that's going to be interesting. And this Flint team that's coming in Friday, Dave. I mean, this is a solid team. They've made some moves, and they've had a lot of draft picks due to a couple bad seasons. This Flint team's one to watch out for, in my opinion.
I think so. I think they're a playoff team for sure this year. I actually think they're going to finish either in that 4th or 6th seed. It's going to be one above the Hounds or one below the Hounds, and they're going to give the Hounds trouble. They did all year last year.
They did.
Beat
them a couple times.
Yeah, they did. Now it all depends what the Hounds can bring back with Barrett Hayton and that, but the moves that Flint has made is impressive. A lot of people looked at that organization and said, "Oh, that organization's a joke. Who puts a hockey team over in Flint?" Listen, they have the ability to ice a good hockey team. They got a good fan base over there. They're going to have some exciting hockey down in Flint this year, and don't ever doubt Flint this year because they're definitely going to be a playoff team.
Always a question mark, it seems like, in the beginning of the season for at least the last couple years. Barrett Hayton, obviously, with Arizona, we don't quite know what he is going to do. The percentages of him coming back to the Hounds maybe it's a little bit low, but it's still a possibility. You put Hayton on that team, does that change your view on where the Hounds finish this year?
For sure, for a couple reasons. But you know what? I've been thinking about it more and more, and I haven't budged from this number since we first talked about it, 50-50. For him coming back or staying. And the reason why I know it's such an easy number to put at, but it all depends where Arizona is. And I always pictured Barrett Hayton with Phil Kessel after Phil Kessel got traded there. I just think that'd be a match made in heaven for a line. But you know what? Arizona has some veterans on that team too. They made some moves this offseason, bringing in Phil as well. They might not bring in a young guy at this current time yet because they may not be a playoff team as of yet, Arizona. They might just be on the cusp of entering the playoffs. Maybe they will make it. Who knows? I think Barrett Hayton will be given one more year in the Ontario Hockey League, to be totally honest with you. If I really had to choose, if someone said, Dave, you have to choose today, that would be my guess. I would say that he is going to return. But if he doesn't, I wouldn't be surprised, and all the power to him. But the reason why it changes the perspective of the Hounds is for two things. If he makes the Hounds may not finish 5th, they finish top 3. Okay, and they bring in some players via trade, affordable trade. They're not going to get rid of a lot of draft picks anymore. They're not going to do any of that. They want to keep building that youth in their system. Okay, and they might finish top 3. Maybe they push it to being in a conference final. Who knows? Sudbury and Saginaw are going to be tough. Also is Flint. But you know what? The other side of it is that the Hounds don't have such a promising year that we all believe that they could have. Trade bait. Barrett Hayton, if he does return, the value that Barrett Hayton is going to bring in that team is going to be unbelievable. Okay, and you're going to get a lot of prospects and a lot of picks. You're going to replenish for Radish times 2 almost. No offense to Radish, but Hayton is a better hockey player than Radish. And also, don't forget Barrett Hayton won top 5 in the National Hockey League. So Arizona, they might keep him, might not, but I'm still at the 50-50 point. But it does kind of change the perspective of the year for sure.
Sioux Greyhounds, again, will start Friday night at the Memorial Gardens, taking on the Flint Firebirds. You can hear that and every Sioux Greyhound game on our sister station, Rock 101, with Jerry Liscombe Jr.
Jerry.
That's right. We're going to take a break here on the game. We come back, we're going to talk more local sports. We have a guest coming in around 6:45. Kelsey Smith, the new sports information director from Lake Superior State University, is going to come in and introduce herself and talk about Laker athletics. And then at 7 o'clock, we'll have Butch Davis from Butch on Sports. Was at Ford Field yesterday, Dave. I know pro football is probably a little sore spot for you with your Steelers. We're going to talk about a lot of things with Butch and more coming up on the game here on ESPN 1400. Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason and Dave McKeag broadcasting from our studios on 3 Mile Road, and what's turning out to be a very beautiful night and a warm week ahead, Dave. It's 70s. I see almost 80.
Yes, and I love it. My parents are in Italy, too.
Oh, buongiorno.
Not going to lie. I'll be honest about it. You know, we're back home as a 28-year-old. But
it's all right.
They're in Italy, but the weather's hot here, so I get to still jump in the pool, which is fantastic.
Excellent. Well, Dave, we got a lot more local sports to cover on Sioux, Ontario and the Sioux, Michigan side. And Algoma University and Sioux College, they have made some news on the pitch, as I like to say, and on the hard court. So give us an update on what's going on with those two schools.
Definitely. You can check out our Facebook page, which is at the Game Sports Show, and also Instagram at the Game Sports Show. Daniel Scarpino, one of our analysts here on the Game Sports Show with soccer, he's involved with Algoma U. He did a fantastic article, so definitely give that a check out and a read for sure. But in terms of the basketball side, starting with that, Algoma U signs Stephen Kabongo. Love, that's going to be a fun name. Definitely.
That is.
Algoma U recruits Stephen Kabongos from Quebec City and played in S'Kéep League for Garneau's men's basketball team. He's an athletic wing and plays the shooting guard and small forward position. Stephen says, the reason why I picked Algoma University is because I knew I wanted to do my studies in English and I wanted to play basketball at the university level. When I was given an opportunity by Coach Etienne, I had to take it. He said, Stephen has enrolled in a 4-year business administration program at Algoma University, which is a fantastic program, by the way.
I did it's like an 8-year degree, but
I'm still taking night courses, so I hear you. Head coach of the Thunderbirds men's basketball team, Etienne Jacquet, has this to say about Stephen. He will add to the intensity level of the team as he looks to take advantage of the opportunity to contribute to the Algoma Thunderbirds. This man will help with his grit and work ethic. His passion for the game is high, and he looks to become a better person by joining the program. He wants to live the Algoma University experience all in and is willing to do whatever it takes to become a better basketball player. And Etienne couldn't have said it more. Etienne took over the program for Thomas Corey, who's a legend at Algoma U and been doing that program since I was a little squirt. And little NBA, they used to run it when I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
I used to wear my Vince Carter jersey.
Oh, Vince Carter. Is he still playing?
No, he is still playing. Came back another year.
Love that guy.
Algoma U basketball is definitely exciting. I'm excited to see what Etienne can do with that team. And, you know, the college, go play the university basketball level, Scott. It's fantastic no matter where you play and to get that experience.
Sure. And lots of action on the pitch as well, Dave, with soccer from Algoma U and Sioux College.
Yes. Now with Algoma University, starting their men's soccer, as Daniel touched on with the women's and soccer side on our Facebook page. Waterloo defeated the men's team 4-0. Algoma U now drops to 0-5 on the season. The women's soccer team played against Waterloo as well. Waterloo won that game 2-0. Algoma U women's is now 1-4. In terms of Sioux College is at Algonquin. Algonquin won 8-0 on the men's side. They dropped 0-2. Women's soccer, it was Sioux College at Algonquin. Algonquin won that game 6-1. The Sioux women's side is now 1-1. Now men's also soccer on the 15th. Waterloo at Algoma 0-0 tie. Algoma is now 0-5-1 with that. And with the women's soccer, Waterloo at Algoma, Waterloo won 4-1. Algoma U women's now 1-5 after the whole weekend analysis there. So Halen Linden had the only goal for Algoma on Sunday, and Algoma U will travel to the University of Guelph on Saturday. So now men's soccer, Sioux College at St. Lawrence. They lost 4-1. They were now 1-3 on the year. Sioux College men's team is 1-3 on the season. We'll be at home to Durham on Saturday afternoon at 3:30 at Superior Heights. Now with women's soccer at St. Lawrence won 6-1, dropping to 1-2 on the women's side. Sioux College women's soccer team will be at home to Durham on Saturday afternoon at 1 at Superior Heights, which is a fantastic field to play on, Scott.
Love the soccer updates. You have no idea how much I love the soccer updates.
Yeah, I know you do. It's fantastic. And that's why I want to get you and Daniel in a room together, because I would probably have to leave you guys alone.
Set it up.
He's definitely a big Liga fan. Mm-hmm. I've probably said that wrong.
Close enough.
Yeah. Close enough. You know, it's fantastic seeing the soccer on the Sioux side in Sioux, Ontario has gotten massive. And I got to give kudos to Algoma U and Sioux College, because Algoma U obviously has had a successful basketball program in terms of, you know, having the presence in the league for a long time. But soccer has grown so big over there, and it's just fantastic to see. And Sioux College athletics has grown from being non-existent, to be honest, to being existent and comparable to the Algoma U level. It's fantastic.
Dave, real quick here before we take our break and get to our guest, we're just transitioning for a moment out of the local sports, because I know you probably have a lot to say about the Mitch Marner signing. 6-year contract extension last week, $10.8 million. It's win now for the Leafs, isn't it? With all these guys and the contracts are going to have some salary cap issues. I mean, it's now or never for Kyle Dubas, isn't it?
It is. And now we, on the Game Sports Show Facebook page, we end up breaking the news, and I got some text saying they heard the news from our show. So that's fantastic. Feels like we broke some of the news. But Mitch Marner, 6 years, 10.893. It's weird with these hockey players. You got Austin Matthews, 11.634. First overall pick, 2016, number 34.
Can't they just round up?
Mitch Marner, number 93, and that number he wanted to throw 93 because he wore 93 with the London Knights, and he also couldn't wear that in Toronto. All in all, they have $40 million between Tavares, Matthews, Marner, and Nylander. That's a lot of money, okay? And you know what, though? This is definitely win mode, and you had to lock up Mitch. Down the road, everyone chirped the Leon Draisaitl signing. Everyone loves that now because all the cap increased. If the cap increases that it's supposed to do, like Dubas predicts, which is why he was hired as a GM, not just because he's a good GM, and not just because he's from the Sault Ste. Marie area, and just from the Sioux in general, is because he's a cap genius. And he predicts it's going to go up to around the $90 million mark. That's where a lot of people think it's going to grow, and if it does, the signing will be just perfectly fine.
Our next guest worked for the New York Islanders. I'm very interested to hear what she has to say about Tavares, the traitor that he is.
You know what? He had to go home, and I bet you he's, last year you saw the Islanders have a good playoff run. So, I'm sure he looked at that as a little bit of karma, but I'm liking where the Leafs are heading. And Tavares is front and center to that. And it's going to be interesting because apparently the Leafs have named a captain. All these leaked. Apparently Matthews is going to be wearing the C.
Okay.
No confirmation yet, but it'd be interesting because I thought Tavares would be that captain.
Very good. We're going to take our final break in hour one here on the game. We come back, we're going to talk Laker Athletics with their new sports information director, athletic communication director, I should say. It's a new title. I'm used to the old one. We'll get the new one right. Kelsey Smith will join us next here on the game on ESPN 1400.
The local housing market is competitive, and unless you have the right team in your corner, you might miss out on your dream home. That's why happy customers choose Old Mission Bank for their home mortgage needs. We provide quality service from the time you submit your application to closing and then through the entire life of your loan. Let our friendly, knowledgeable staff be your financial partner. Call or stop by to check out our competitive rates and all the other fast, simple solutions we offer at Old Mission Bank. We're located in Pickford and Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. FDIC insured, equal housing lender.
Life is busy. Get out and enjoy the fun. Whether that means a block party with the neighborhood or tailgating with the gang, the Honda EU 2200i has you covered. Besides being lightweight and durable, Honda portable generators are extremely quiet and can run for hours and hours. The Honda EU 2200i now has 200 watts more power with models up to 4,400 watts. You'll love the fuel efficiency and reliability of your new Honda generator. Go to Honda.com or, better yet, visit Leach Sports Center on the I-75 Business Spur and learn firsthand all the ways you can put a Honda generator to work for you. Honda, it's power you can trust.
Mo at M&C Water Systems has a solution for all your water needs. Want clean, fresh drinking water? M&C Water Systems proudly distributes natural, artesian water for all your bottled water needs. Cooler rental and bottled water delivery for your home and office are available. M&C Water Systems delivers to all the local islands, too. Need a water filter? M&C has them. Need a softener? Drinking water system? Want to find out about reverse osmosis? Call Mo at M&C Water Systems today at 906-647-7307, serving the Eastern Upper Peninsula for over 25 years.
You want more from a compact or utility tractor, and at Skinner's of Pickford, you'll find more. More of the newest Massey Ferguson tractors, offering more versatility, more durability, and more performance. Stop by today and find out how Massey Ferguson is expanding the possibilities of what a great tractor can be, and why a Massey Ferguson will be the last tractor you'll ever need. Come see the Massey Ferguson compact and utility tractors at Skinner's of Pickford, your tractor source in the north. You wanted a small tractor with a mid-PTO for more versatility. Massey Ferguson responded by bringing back a versatile workhorse, the Massey Ferguson 1526 Compact Tractor, now available at Skinner's of Pickford. A tractor that can do more because it's made to handle more. As hardworking and no-nonsense as you are. See it today at Skinner's of Pickford, your tractor source in the north. You can catch podcasts of the game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason and Dave McKay continuing to broadcast from our ESPN 1400 studios here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. And we welcome our special guest here in hour one. Her name is Kelsey Smith, the brand new Athletic Communications Director at Lake Superior State University. I was going by the artist formerly known as the Sports Information Director. It's a new title, Athletic Communications Director, and a new person. Kelsey, thanks for joining us here on The Game.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, we're excited to have you on board, Kelsey. And before we get into some of the athletics that are going on right now, lots of teams in action over the weekend, want to get a little bit of background on you. You come from the National Hockey League as far as communications, as you work for the NHL's New York Islanders for the past few seasons. Tell us, first of all, how did you go about getting that job, and what are some of the things you did there for the Islanders?
Sure. So a little bit before that, I went to college. I went to Providence College, worked for their hockey team for 4 years, and loved it. Knew that that's what I wanted to do career-wise. And so the summer after college, sent out lots of resumes and wound up getting a call from the Islanders. They were looking for game day PR interns for their communications department. Interviewed, their staff was great, and then I started that season. So that was the 2015 season, their first season at the Barclays Center. So there was a lot of kind of
big transition there.
Yeah, a lot of changes, but it was exciting for me. I was, to get to work in the NHL, around all these players that I watched on TV and everything. It was great. And then I spent the past 4 seasons there. Did a lot of different things. Was in charge of credentialing media. Kind of ran away team morning skates because we had them. The away team skated at Barclays Center, and our home team was based on Long Island, about an hour away. So we kind of had a split staff there. So that was really cool to get to kind of watch those morning skates with, all 30 teams by the time I finished there. Right. When Vegas got added in.
Did you ever see Beyonce and Jay-Z?
No, but there were a lot of pictures of them hanging up around Barclays. We kind of, and it was fun. The team kind of they had some good seasons, some not so great seasons in there, but by the time I left, there was definitely a buzz around the team. There were a lot of good young players. Matt Barzal won the Rookie of the Year when I was there. We were just talking a little bit about John Tavares was made headlines when I was there. So, we had a lot going on.
Wonder where he went.
Yeah. I think we know. Kelsey, going back to your college, Providence, obviously a team that's very well known in sports, especially college hockey. Were you there when they won the national championship?
Yeah, so that was my senior year. Okay. Last game I worked with the Friars was they wound up getting placed in a regional in Providence,
right.
Which
as a 4 seed.
And then they wound up making it to the Frozen Four that year, and it was in Boston.
Okay.
Which we kind of were the away seed because we played BU, so it was fun. But I got to travel to both of those the Frozen Four games, and it was crazy.
Out of those memories, was it the college level that was more, like, I don't want to say more enjoyable, but just was that the experience that you remember most, or is it the National Hockey League? I know that kind of maybe goes without saying because you had that work in the National Hockey League, but to have that experience at the college level is fantastic too.
Yeah, I think when I worked at Providence, I didn't really have any expectations going into it. My first season there was their coach now, Nate Lehman, his first season there. The team was had gone through a little bit of a few years where they just were kind of not. Hockey East was a hard conference to be playing in. Yep. They just kind of lost things for a while, and then they brought in Nate Lehman, and there weren't really that many expectations going into that year. I was a freshman who was so excited to be there. And then with each year, kind of expectations grew a little bit. I don't really think anybody expected them to win a national championship that year. They went on a crazy run. And I mean, they did have a great team, but so I just was like so new to everything that was awesome. I mean, the NHL being in locker rooms, after games, and I kind of always took the away team side of it, which was awesome because, there could be a stretch where you're in a locker room next to, getting recordings from Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin, and, you know, those type of star players, you know, within 1 week. And that was so cool.
Kelsey Smith joining us on the game, the brand new athletic communications director at Lake Superior State University. So Kelsey, had you heard of Lake Superior State University before you applied for this job? What made you apply for it, and how are things going so far? That's 3 questions, but I combined them into one.
So, as a college hockey fan, I had heard of Lake Superior State. Didn't know too much about them, if I'm being totally honest. But working for the Islanders, when I was there the year that Doug Weight was our head coach. Right. So we did have a little bit of a Lake State connection there. And actually it was one of my bosses, or a couple of my bosses over at the Islanders, knew I was looking for something full-time. You know, NHL's kind of a tough, you know, it's a small staff. The team that I worked for, they kind of were all younger starting out. There wasn't much of an opening there. They knew I loved hockey. I wanted to stay in sports. Kind of sent me over information on it and sent in the application. And less than a month later, I was here. And yeah, kind of did the big move.
So you've been here for a few weeks, and the season has already begun. Volleyball has been in action. They'll have their home openers this Friday night and Saturday. They were in action this weekend. Another tournament going 1-3 over the weekend. They would beat Minnesota Crookston, fall to St. Cloud State, a very good Minnesota Duluth team ranked 6th in Division II, and South Dakota Mines. So the Lakers will be at home this weekend. Another tough opponent coming in, the Ferris State Bulldogs, on Friday night at 6:30. And then the Lakers will take on the Northwood Timberwolves Saturday at 2. Both matches are set at the Bud Cooper Gymnasium. So this will be your first set of home games. Are you excited about it and to see the volleyball team?
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's so much kind of excitement around the volleyball team now that, based on what I've heard, you know, really hasn't been there for a while. They're a really young team. 17 of the 21 are either sophomores or freshmen. So obviously there's going to be some kind of growing pains with that. But, I mean, this weekend they already matched their season total from 2 seasons ago, which, you know, we haven't even started GLIAC play yet. So that's like a great sign. And, I'm excited for, you know, home game, home weekend, kind of get that kicked off.
So now, working in this position, you obviously have tasks and duties. Every job does. And I can tell you from being an HR individual that there's always things that you have to do in jobs. But what is something unique outside of that you want to bring to this position? Because obviously in these types of positions within college sports, creativity is huge with somebody to bring an initiative forward or to bring a promotion forward or kind of something that's going to change the outlook of the program for the positive. So is there something that you wanted to bring to the table to this, let's say, organization, school, or anything of such that could be different than past years? What can people expect that from you?
I mean, in terms of me, I mean, I'm still kind of learning the ropes here, trying to like get a feel for the community and what, you know, everybody kind of wants to see from, you know, what we can provide. I think the biggest thing is trying to get as much content out about kind of the athletes as almost as people instead of just those constant previews, recaps, which, you know, is important, and we need to like highlight how our teams are doing. But I think kind of features that break down what it's like to be a student athlete or their backgrounds or stories of how they got to Lake State, I think that is what resonates with people. And I think if we can try to use some different platforms, whether it be the website or social media or videos, I think those are the type of things that help grow the athletic department.
Kelsey, lots of sports going on right now, including cross country. The men's and women's cross country teams were in East Lansing to take part in the Spartan Invitational. For the women, Rebecca Lathrop, she finished with a time of 25:38, best amongst her teammates. And for the men, it was David Mitter, first finisher with a time of 26:47. He finished 80th out of 326 athletes. Lakers will be in action against Wayne State, or I should say a challenge or run at Wayne State on Saturday. And then the tennis team also in action. The women's tennis team dropped a 6-1 decision to Michigan Tech on Saturday. They're going to travel to Caledonia, Michigan next weekend to compete in the ITA regionals. And the golf team also starting their season with their brand new head coach, Tony Crisp. as the Lakers were in competition this weekend. They'll be in competition in Gaylord on Monday, September 23rd and Tuesday, September 24th. So lots of sports going on right now, Kelsey, and we still have, of course, hockey, which is, the D1 sport, also men's and women's basketball among track and field. And so we talked about it before you came on the air. It's always a busy time in Laker athletics.
Yeah. This weekend we had, tennis was at home this weekend, and they have women's tennis. They have an exciting, young they have a couple transfers that came in, some freshmen, plus you have some really good returners. And, they've also, their schedule, Michigan Tech is one of the top teams to play against. So I think for their opening game, that was, not a win for them, but, hopefully they can kind of carry on those returners, their success in the past.
Laker hockey will begin here in early October. Some news from this past week. Head coach Damon Whitten announced that senior defenseman Colin Sackerman and senior forward Max Humich will serve as the team captains for the 2019-2020 season. The Lakers will start off the season, their 54th season, against Merrimack College on Saturday, October 5th at 7 p.m. They'll also take on the Warriors on Sunday, October 6th. We'll have the games on our sister station, Today's Hits 99.5 Yes FM with Bill Crawford, a Laker hockey team, Kelsey, that made big strides over the past few years, especially last year, winning a home playoff series for the first time in a while. And they have a lot of returners back. A pretty exciting time for Laker hockey right now.
Mm-hmm, definitely. I know, we have the third highest returning goal scorer in the nation in Max Humich. So that's exciting to know that you're getting, a big name goal scorer to come back. You have a lot of, defense returning. And I know fans have been excited. And when we have a packed atmosphere, that definitely helps the team, and best season in 23 years last season. So hopefully we can top that this year.
Kelsey, final question for you before we let you go. Transition from Providence to New York, Long Island to Sault Ste. Marie. Early thoughts on living in the good old Sioux in the Eastern Peninsula. You haven't seen a winter yet. I know Providence, they get some,
it's gonna be kind of chilly.
They get some storms along with Long Island, but it gets a little cold around here. What are your thoughts? Early thoughts on Sault Ste. Marie?
Well, it's been great so far. That's basically the response I get from everyone is wait until I have a winter to give my my full recap. But so far it's been great. Everybody here is super friendly and welcoming, and it's so far been great.
Kelsey Smith, Athletic Communications Director at Lake Superior State University, joining us on the game. Kelsey, it was nice to meet you in person. We've corresponded via email. Appreciate our partnership once again here on the game with Lake Superior State University, giving us guests, coaches, athletes, and other people. And we appreciate you coming in. Best of luck this year. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other many times at some games, and thanks for joining us on the game.
Thanks for having me.
That was Kelsey Smith, again, Athletic Communications Director for Lake Superior State University. We are going to take a break here on the game, our top of the hour break. When we return, Dave and I will be joined by Butch Davis from Butch on Sports. Lots to say about what's going on in the Metro Detroit sports world, the Lions' victory over the Chargers, the Tigers' series against Baltimore, Red Wings training camp, college football, and more. That's coming up next on the game here on ESPN 1400.
September is Pain Awareness Month. Arfstrom Pharmacy, your locally owned Health Mart pharmacy, has over-the-counter products to help with your aches and pains.
Hi, this is pharmacist Andrew Zoki. Health Mart brand pain relievers feature high-quality ingredients but cost considerably less when compared to the national brands. We also offer Ananda Professional Full-Spectrum Hemp Extract, which is only available for sale at a pharmacy. We are currently the only location in the Sioux area offering this professional-grade hemp extract. Stop in and talk to our pharmacy staff about the different products available.
For another pain management option, Arfstrom Medical Equipment and Supplies carries fast-acting, professional-strength BioFreeze. It's the #1 clinically recommended topical pain reliever. Let Arfstrom Pharmacy help you get your pain management back on track. Stop in today at 415 Ashman Street in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Open 9 till 7 Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturday.
Health Mart, caring for you and about you.
Looking for the lowest prices and the best deals on quality used cars, trucks, or SUVs? Look no further than Rodenroth Motors. We have the largest selection of quality pre-owned certified vehicles ever, all priced below book, and all come with a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty. It's our way of standing behind what we sell and guaranteeing you that you'll get the highest quality pre-owned vehicle only at Rodenroth Motors. Stop in and check out our largest selection ever. With prices starting at $49.95, I'm sure we'll have something for you. Don't forget to look for the hang tag specials. These units are clearly priced at or near dealer cost. Just another way we can save you even more money. Come see why all roads lead to Rodenroth Motors for Chevy, Buick, and GMC, the #1 volume dealer in the Eastern UP, at the corner of 3 Mile and Mackinac Trail in beautiful Sault Ste. Marie. Find us on the web or like us on Facebook. Chevy, find new roads.
Let's get to the second half of the game here on ESPN 1400, WKNW, Sault Ste. Marie's sports leader. It's the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Now, here's Scott Nason.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason along with Dave McKeag here at our ESPN 1400 studios on 3 Mile. Alyssa Bradley, our broadcast engineer once again. Hour 2 of the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show, The Game. We covered local sports in Hour 1, and now we shift to regional sports with our good friend, co-host, and all-around great guy. His name is Butch Davis. You can find his show, Butch on Sports, on his podcast page, Simply Butch 2. That's TOO.podomatic.com. You can also find his broadcast here on thegamesportshow.com as he joins us each and every week to talk about what's going on in the Metro Detroit sports scene. Butch, how you doing on this Monday night, my friend?
Oh, it's really been hectic today here. Very hectic today. A lot of sports, a lot of stuff going on here. But, we'll share that with our fine fans out there in Sault Ste. Marie here.
Yes, we will indeed, Butch. And let's start with a game you attended in person yesterday in Ford Field. The Detroit Lions, the undefeated Detroit Lions, baby. 1-0-1 as Matthew Stafford threw a go-ahead 31-yard touchdown pass to Kenny Golladay. And Darius Slay, who struggled for most of the game, made a key interception in the end zone as the Detroit Lions, with a little help from maybe some bad kicking on the Chargers, win by the score of 13-10 to improve, as I mentioned, to 1-0-1. The Lions will travel to Philly on Sunday. Butch, you were there. You got a lot to say. What do you think?
Well, Lions need a lot of work. A lot of work again. Defense was pretty good there. Not as accurate as I would like to see in defense. Of course, this is early in the season. Offense, it took a while for Matthew Stafford to get himself together there, but he did find Kenny Golladay for a whole heck of a lot of doggone times here. The exact amount of Galladay's reception, 8 receptions for 117 yards there. That's a lot going in there. Did not go to many others. He did go use Jesse James as a tight end for several plays there. But again, slow indeed, but as Matthew Stafford has done in the past, always come in the late moments of the last quarters or whatnot there to bring the Lions into some type of victory type of chump there. And in return, a lot of mistakes made by both teams per se there. Mr. Rivers throwing that interception to Slate, who was picked on humongous amount of times there. A lot of work needs to be done in that secondary indeed. But again, a win is a win. The Lions are a half game back. When would you ever heard of a football team being a half a game back? But again, they're undefeated. You can't ask for anything else. The home crowd went home happy, and that's a good sign.
Butch, watching it on TV, and you were there in person, the Detroit Lions fan base is a starved fan base, and I really thought the crowd was especially into that game. At least that's how it appeared on television. Was the crowd a little more amped up maybe than usual at Ford Field?
Well, the hype was there as always, okay, for Ford Field. The hype got, it got better and better in the later parts of the game there when Matthew Stafford twirled his magic around and got some receivers open and made some plays. The defense was especially very targeted when it came down to some of that hype as well there when they made plays against Phillip Rivers. But again, the San Diego Chargers is a good team. They have a very balanced team, good runners and good receivers as well. And the Lions are very fortunate to get a victory out of this particular game, especially when the mistakes are made. And also some field goal misses and whatnot that helped them out a great deal.
Great transition, Butch, to college football. Speaking of field goal misses, the Michigan State Spartans lost to Arizona State 10-7 on Saturday. It looked like they had tied that game, but they had too many men on the field and then attempted another field goal, which was missed. However, there should have been a penalty according to the Pac-12 and the referees. In an official statement today, the Pac-10 apologized or at least acknowledged an officiating error. Quote, an Arizona State defensive player took a running start and leapt over the kicking team's line in an attempt to block the kick. In the process, he leapt into the frame of the body of an opponent. The penalty should have been 15 yards. They should have another chance to kick. They didn't. Michigan State loses. Tough way to lose, Butch, but State shouldn't have been in that position in the first place, in my opinion.
That's very much so true. Michigan State shot itself in the foot throughout the whole game there. You got to give it to both defenses, though. Both defenses performed admirably throughout the game there. Michigan State offense that I expected a lot more from because they are more or less the veteran type of team. Has been together with each other for a very long time. Didn't show their oats in that game there. You got to give some credit to the coaching staff of Arizona State in that particular game there. Again, Michigan State shot themselves in the foot. They had no one else to blame but themselves. You can look at the officiating and whatnot, and it was bad on both sides of the ends there, but it was especially bad for Michigan State when someone jumps over, and you know it's a penalty, but it was not called. That seemed to be rampant these days with bad officiating and whatnot there. Hopefully it will get somewhat situated now as Michigan State goes into their Big Ten season and will deal with only Big Ten officials, okay? So, again, you know, Michigan State has to recuperate, take a good thought of the game and how they played. They did not play very well at all. That's the same as Michigan last week against Army there. They're very fortunate to win in any type of particular category, but now you're going into the Big Ten season where every game counts for something. They got to get it together.
Michigan State and Michigan will both be on the road. Michigan was idle this past weekend. Michigan State will be at Northwestern high noon and Michigan at Wisconsin also at 12 o'clock. Butch, let's transition to the Detroit Tigers. Breaking news, this score just in. The Tigers now just 3 games ahead, quote unquote, of Baltimore for that final, or I should say the number 1 draft pick as they defeat the Orioles this afternoon by the score of 5-2. Tyler Anderson getting his first win of the season. So the Tigers, Butch, a split against Baltimore in what some call the worst regular season series, maybe of all time. Not many people at Comerica Park today.
No, not at all, and you can't blame them. There's other things to do, like look at the sun or something like that there, or you know, shop for winter goods or whatever it may be. The Tigers in the big picture there, they're helping themselves with a bad finish and a terrible season there. Yeah. And it's ridiculous there to say that, but again, they win today against Baltimore 5-2. That's nice for the people who showed up. They're not giving away free beer or hot dogs or pizza or whatever it may be, or thanks for coming here. You know, here's a free ticket for next year. They're not doing that. So, you know, it's not going to get any better for the Tigers there and the attendance crowd, especially when you got other things to deal with now as hockey season is getting ramped up as of tomorrow for the Detroit Red Wings. You got other things going on in football, high school, as well as college. You know, other diversions are there. So, again, you know, hopefully The Tigers will get that number 1 draft pick, and hopefully they do something with it where it's a draft pick that they don't have to season too much, but can immediately come to the major league and do some things for a club that needs it very, very bad.
Butch Davis joining us on the game. Butch, let's continue talking about, you just mentioned them, the Detroit Red Wings, who wrapped up their training camp in Traverse City earlier today, and they will be in action, believe it or not, tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. at Little Caesars Arena, as the Red Wings will open the preseason schedule against Chicago of, I think, 3 games this week, if I'm not mistaken. Butch, Detroit Red Wings training camp, haven't seen a whole lot of news out of there. Are you going to witness any of the games this week, and what are your thoughts on the Wings?
I'll be witnessing them Friday against the Islanders, per se, there. Some news from Detroit Red Wings said today they announced that all the fees will be waived for single games and preseason Red Wing ticket purchases on Ticketmasters.com until Friday, September the 20th at 11:59. Theme nights and whatnot have been announced today. I have a list of those bad boys
all
here.
Right.
I'll give you some examples here. On October 6th, the home opener against Dallas, they're giving away Thunder Sticks here.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just what you need in your home, Scott, there.
I love it.
Of course, they go along the way. There's some annual things. You have the annual Back in Business, the Thanksgiving Eve game, as well as the New Year's Eve game will be played in Detroit. Thank goodness for that one there. Of course, in Halloween night, which will be played on Tuesday the 29th against Edmonton there, they're giving away orange hats. That's something that you can put in your wardrobe as well there. So a whole heck of a lot of others. I'm going to list that on the board for the podcast tomorrow, Wednesday night there, so people will have a good idea of what's upcoming there. Also have a Grateful Dead night there.
Wow.
I don't know what to say about that here, you know, but, you know, hey.
The Deadheads. Butch, we got a few minutes left in your segment here to open up hour 2. What are some of the other sporting events going on in Metro Detroit, maybe that we didn't cover so far?
Well, so the Pistons the Pistons announced that today. Yesterday, they hired Donnie Tinsdale, who was the assistant coach last year for the Grand Rapids Drive of their NBA G League affiliate there. They got some assistant coaches as well, Courtney Alexander, Cam Black, and also Jacob Porter to run off the staff there. They didn't announce the amount of money they're going to get there, but they'll be taking over the helm for the Drive once they make the cuts and all, and have the training camp, and then you'll get that particular lineup for that particular team in Grand Rapids there. But that was the news from the Detroit Pistons. We also, their camp is not far away. They're about 2 weeks in and some change there. That's going to be happening there. So the Pistons will be all right and ready to go. Other than what you heard about the Detroit Lions, that was a big push this week. You can go to bed thinking that the Lions are not in first place, but they haven't lost a game.
That's right. Undefeated, baby, and we will take it. Butch Davis joining us on the game. Butch, we're going to take a break. E.J. Russell is waiting in the bullpen, and we're going to start our roundtable, so stand by. We'll be back in a couple minutes, sir.
All right.
All right, we're going to take our first break here in hour 2 of the game. When we come back, we will start our sports roundtable. We have a lot to talk about. We'll get to that coming up next on the game here on ESPN 1400.
Overacting?
Once more into the breach, dear friends, once more. Or close the wall up with our English dead. In peace, there's nothing.
Underacting.
Once more into the breach, dear friends, once more, or close the wall up with our English dead. It doesn't take a theater director to tell the difference between overacting and underacting, but it's not as easy knowing whether you're overinsured or underinsured. A low rate isn't a good thing if everything you hold dear, your family, your home, your future, isn't protected properly. That's why you have Farm Bureau of Michigan agent Dean Garlinghouse to take the drama out of making sure you have the coverage you need. Insurance is Dean's life. Trust your future to Dean Garlinghouse to avoid poor coverage.
Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, a most excellent fancy.
Oy. So you can get on with your life. Call Dean Garlinghouse at Farm Bureau Insurance today.
O'Connor's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Big Big fall doings in September at O'Connor's of Pickford, where Ram Power Days are on. Want to lease a new 2019 Ram Bighorn Quad Cab 4x4? O'Connor's delivers with a low mileage lease for just $319 a month plus tax with approved credit. You pay just $9.99 at signing. Ram Power Days all month long. Get the deal you want on the Ram you dream about at O'Connor's of Pickford.
O'Connor's Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram.
Jeep Adventure Days are on all month at O'Connor's of Pickford. Get a new Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk with up to $6,750 in rebates and incentives. Or enjoy an ultra-low mileage lease on a new 2019 Jeep Compass. It's just $275 a month plus tax with good credit, and you pay just $550 at signing. Jeep Adventure Days all month long. Get the deal you want on the Jeep you dream about at O'Connor's of Pickford.
O'Connor's Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram.
Let's get back to the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Let's get back to the game on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason rejoined by Dave McKeag here in studio, along with our broadcast engineer, Alyssa Bradley. We're continued to be joined by Butch Davis from Butch on Sports and our newest co-host, contributor, and all-around good guy joining us from Escanaba, Michigan, EJ Russell, joining us on this beautiful Monday evening in the Upper Peninsula and Metro Detroit region. EJ, thanks for joining us, and how you doing, sir?
I'm good. I'm all garbed up. I got my Myles Garrett on, my Browns hat, my Browns T-shirt, my Browns socks. I'll stop there, but I'm ready for game day. Cleveland Browns taking on the New York Jets on ESPN Monday Night Football. Very excited to be here, discuss the week in sports, and happy to talk to you guys as always.
Well, EJ, let's have you begin our roundtable. We should have time for at least one topic for all four of us. We'll go to Dave for his thoughts, then Butch, then back to me. So EJ Russell on this Browns Eve, Monday Night Football. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, this week was what I would say is the first week in the football season where injuries are going to affect teams in a significant way. So my question to you guys is, out of the players that have suffered what we would call a significant injury, and you can define that however you want, which player's injury is going to have the largest impact on their team as far as the NFL goes?
Dave, obviously a team that you follow had a big one. Ben Roethlisberger out for the season after having surgery or going to have surgery. I know that's near and dear to you, but I'll give you the floor for EJ's topic.
You know, that was definitely going to be where I was going to go, obviously. But heck, even this it's been a year of injuries. There's been even a year of players requesting trades as well. I like to see that with the Dolphins. Now, Jalen Ramsey, as per Adam Schaffner, just released that he's requested a trade from the Jaguars. So I think that's another thing with injuries. But you have Big Ben Roethlisberger, okay, that's out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Steelers are down 0-2 on the year. First game against a Super Bowl favorite, times 10, if I could, New England Patriots. You have a Seattle Seahawks team who I think is also a very good football team. Russell Wilson's a fantastic quarterback. Those are losses. Despite the embarrassing loss to New England, I think the game yesterday against Seattle was well fought. And Mason Rudolph did fantastic in Big Ben's absence. So injuries, I got to go Big Ben though. You know, Mason was going into that game. It's kind of a different feeling than knowing that you're going to take the helm for the rest of the year. He went into that game with no pressure. He's like, Big Ben's going to be okay. I'm just going to show my spotlight right now. I'm going to do well. But now you get the news today that Mason is going to be taking over the entirety of the season. Now, this is what's really going to show if this young quarterback is a little diamond in the rough late pick. You know, there's been some good late pick quarterbacks, one of them being Tom Brady. Now, Mason's definitely not comparing him to Tom Brady, so I'm going to pump the brakes on that. But I'm telling you right now, Big Ben's injury is huge to the Steelers because despite being down 0-2 on the season, they have a chance to replenish this year. I know the Ravens have started off hot, but you know what? With Big Ben being out, it's going to have the pressure on that defensive line and that O-line, especially to really protect their quarterback, their new young quarterback that's going to be using Vance McDonald and Juju Smith-Schuster to exhaustion. I think you should start looking at Washington. Washington, the little number 13 who has speed on the Steelers. He has some good vision, some good catching. I think you got to start using him. And I think Mason will do that. I think he has the ability to have some quick slant plays and utilize James Conner a lot. If you have James Conner in fantasy, you're going to get a lot of points now. He's going to get trusted with that football a whole bunch, but Big Ben has to be the injury for me.
Butch, let's go to you next on EJ's topic. Injury in the NFL, who's it affecting the most right now?
All of them. All of them, really. You know, and the injuries are going to pile up and big time there. I would say the Saints and what they're going through right now, there with their quarterback Drew Brees there. They are in a fight with LA and some other teams as well in the Western Conference there, and they don't have no, you know, they're in the South. Excuse me there. But you got Atlanta who's threatening to be a better team than they were last year, and they can't miss a beat. And right now the Saints do have a pretty good quarterback and a backup there. But again, you know how that's going to adjust and how Peyton can get his team rolling and get used to the new quarterback. To me, that's something that really we'll be taking a look at. The Pittsburgh Steelers, on the other hand, they seem like right now they need to replenish some players there. And if some young players don't step up in a hurry there, the Steelers are going to have a bad season there. The Cleveland Browns, per se, there, I don't expect them to be down and out for long. I think they learned a life lesson last week when they played. They're going to be a lot better. And some other teams that are coming out the wet wash as well. So basically, right now, I would say the New Orleans Saints had the bigger hit. Although Roethlisberger is out for the year, the Saints lose their quarterback Drew Brees for 6 weeks and maybe longer.
Yeah, Butch, I would agree with you on several fronts there, talking about both the Saints and obviously the Steelers. I mean, you lose a player like Ben Roethlisberger, a guy that has won a Super Bowl, and, you know, who knows? Yeah, 2 Super Bowls. Thank you, Dave. I'm not used to saying anybody wins Super Bowls being a Lions fan. So
I want to make sure I threw that in there.
I appreciate that. But, you know, looking at Drew Brees, I mean, another guy that's won a Super Bowl, and Teddy Bridgewater, which is a great story in itself, him getting back in the NFL. Yeah, look at Jacksonville as well. I mean, losing Nick Foles. I know Foles maybe isn't the greatest quarterback, but another quarterback that's won the Super Bowl. And you look at Philadelphia in that game last night, talking about injuries. Now, it looks like some of these guys maybe aren't out with serious injuries, but Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey both go out with injuries last week. It'll be interesting to see if any of those guys are, you know, suited up next week against the Lions. So you get injuries at key positions, and we haven't even really covered defensive injuries and such. It's a way of life in the NFL, but when you take away quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls, it can't help but not affect those teams, and in a negative way. EJ Russell, great topic. Your thoughts?
I think that out of and I think all three of you guys named probably the 3 biggest impactful events as far as injuries go over the weekend. Between the Philadelphia Eagles, Ben Roethlisberger, and Drew Brees. Drew Brees is one of the most important injuries that we need to take account for. Over the next 6 games or so, the Saints are projected to win roughly 4 of those, and now they got to do it with a guy in Teddy Bridgewater, who is one of the leagues, if not, I believe he's the highest paid backup quarterback in the National Football League right now. I think Teddy has enough potential to come in and help sneak away maybe 3 of those wins and teams over, let's say, the Cardinals, maybe the Cowboys. There's enough talent on that team, I think, that they can beat the Cowboys in a couple other games. I see him losing to the Bears coming up in games like that. As far as Pittsburgh's injury is concerned with Ben Roethlisberger, this is a team that I don't think many people have projected to even necessarily make the playoffs this year. And one thing that's important to know, and Dave, you made a good point talking about Mason Rudolph, and Mr. Washington there, the new wide receiver that they have from Oklahoma State. Rudolph threw 31 touchdowns to Washington in college, including 2 touchdowns this preseason, okay? These are guys that they have a connection, and I think Juju Smith-Schuster is a young enough receiver that if Mason Rudolph performs well and starts completing some of these passes, that he's going to get into a rhythm and can find his way within that Pittsburgh Steelers offense, which is why I'm not overly concerned there, because they could still finish 8-8. They might not make a playoff spot. They might not have made one anyways. But this is a chance in Pittsburgh to see what you have and continue to develop with 2 guys that already have a relationship. But I think the Philadelphia Eagles suffered the biggest loss of the season right now, which is that they took away half of Carson Wentz's tools and half of his players who he can throw to. And I think, and I don't want to name one player specifically, but I think the injuries to the Eagles receiving core, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, those are going to have a big impact because now you got to go to guys like Nelson Aguilar, who didn't look great last night and had a couple of issues. Zach Ertz, everybody knows you're going to go to him. So who do you have left? You still have Darren Sproles coming out of the backfield. A couple other players went down last night, but I think that that's going to impact them in the biggest way. The Saints and Eagles, both contenders to get to the Super Bowl. Look for the Saints to struggle over the next 6 weeks. I see them maybe sneaking away with 3 wins. But Philadelphia, if they don't get those players back quickly, is looking at sliding to a third-place finish in their division.
Great topic, EJ. Let's continue the roundtable with Dave McKeag for his topic. Butch, will go to you first and then myself. So, Dave McKeag, what's on your mind in the world of sports tonight?
I wonder where I'm going to go with my topic. You predict
soccer.
Oh, you want me to go soccer? Talk a Liga?
Nah, talk whatever you want.
Mitchell Marner. Finally, we did predict end of August. It happened mid-September. He has re-signed 6 years, 10.893. Of course, 9.3 had to be in there because hockey players are weird. I don't get it. But now, speaking of Mitch Marner, remaining RFAs, you got Kachuk still on side, Laine, Connor, they're still on side. McAvoy's off the board now. Jared Spurgeon got a big payday. I want to talk just contract updates throughout the entirety of the National Hockey League and just in particular your reaction about Mitchell Marner.
Butch, we'll go to you first. Butch, you're going to be attending some Wings preseason games this week, but we're talking contracts. Mitch Marner, what you say, sir?
Don't let me be rude, but you know what? That signing should have been a long time ago, okay? That's a joke, whoever made that young man wait as long as he did there, you know, and then the amount of money they gave him for him to wait is a joke as well, too, there. I think some good things will happen. But again, with the contract he signed, there's a lot that Marner's going to have to prove to many that he is worth the wait or worth the time and the effort and the money that's being spent on him there. As far as a lot of the preseason or prerequisite type of players right now who've not been signed, look at some teams that are low in the gutter there. Please do not leave the Red Wings out of that particular cause because they have a lot of young kids that basically right now many of the teams in the NHL would like to steal. Right now, up close and personal, they will be willing to give away some good product there and maybe some product that the Red Wings will float them ahead just a wee bit there. I'm not expecting a whole heck of a lot of playoffs, but again, as a Red Wings fan, they better make the playoffs because they've been in it and been out of it too doggone long there. But I see right now some teams are going to make some moves there, and I think the Red Wings are going to be one of those teams that's going to kind of buffer their lineup with some of the young talent they did. Hopefully they don't use the young talent to ruin their particular spot, such as somebody we know like the Detroit Tigers have in the past.
I'm going to punt on this one, guys. I don't get into the contracts too much. I'll just say this with Mitch Marner. I agree. I mean, it was something that we all thought was coming. It took a while, and Toronto better win now because there's not a lot of room for error with the Maple Leafs. If they don't win in the next couple of years, it gets awful tough as far as contracts, salary cap, and such. But again, I'm going to pass on that one because I don't get into the numbers as much maybe as I should. Maybe I'll look into that more as we head along the season. EJ Russell, giving you more time to talk, and Dave even more than that, so your thoughts.
Well, I'll concede a majority of my time to Dave here, but I'll quickly address this. I think it's a great signing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they got him at what appears to be a good value, fair market value for his talent. But I think what's important to recognize here is that this gives the Leafs 3 forwards, which their average annual value is in 8 figures, and that's Marner, Matthews, and Tavares. And that's a lot of money between 3 guys. NHL, typically a league where you don't see, teams really reaching into their pockets to give all these guys multi-million-dollar, multi-year deals in the way that we're used to seeing it in the NFL, National Basketball Association, and Major League Baseball. I think it's great for them to lock up their core and continue to develop their team. My concern is, are they going to have enough left to make sure that they take care of the role players? Because as you guys very well know, the NHL is not a league where you can get away with just having a junk third, fourth line. You got to have 4 lines of guys that can go out, perform their jobs, whether it's to bang bodies, pass the puck, shoot the puck, be grinders, you dig in the corners for pucks, whatever it is that your job is, it is very important in the NHL to play your role. And those role players can be dramatic additions to your team. Look at the Chicago Blackhawks in the past with Mr. Bickle, okay? He was not typically the best player in the regular season, but come playoffs, the guy knew how to score goals and perform well, and that was his role on that team, and that's why he got paid. So as long as Toronto is satisfied with the way that they've structured this contract and feel like that they've got enough money to continue to gain those role players that are 100% going to be necessary come playoff time, I think it's a great signing. And I absolutely agree that you had to lock him up. I think you got it at a good value. Maybe a little bit more than you needed to pay, but he's the kind of talent that garners that kind of attention. He's the kind of guy that deserves that type of money, and hopefully he performs as well as his contract.
Dave, great topic, lots of discussion. I know you got a lot to say, so the floor is yours, sir.
You know, Mitchell Marner signing for what he did, everyone looks at it as franchise crippling. It's the term that is used well on the show, especially on the Sioux Ontario side with Alex Parr. He's one of our loved analysts here on the show, and he loves that word franchise crippling. And that's the first couple words that came to mind with me until I sat back after I did 5 fist pumps of excitement and then thought franchise crippling and then was just all over the map and mood. But at the end of the day, you have Mitch Marner, who is making what he is making, and it's between him, Matthews, Tavares, and Nylander that are around the $40 million range, which is unbelievable. But here's something that I can't take credit for saying, I wish I could, but Steve Dangle, okay, you can look him up on YouTube. He's involved with Sportsnet. He is one electric guy, and he said that, and perfect point, their top 9 forwards are locked up for almost 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable, okay? And they have Kerfoot, Janssen, Kapanen, Hyman, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, Marner, okay? You got guys that are locked up, okay? The only thing of concern is their decor. You got Riley for a couple years still locked up. Tyson Barrie is a free agent at the end of this year. You know, you got Dermott that's involved in there. You have Muzzin, who's a free agent. You got that win now mode for sure. But the people are forgetting that Dubas is a genius. This guy knows what he's doing. But Butch, I couldn't agree more. We knew this is what he was going to sign for. Why didn't this happen earlier? They had to carry on. Mitch's family got dragged on into it. He was upset at that about all the negative feedback from the fans, typical Toronto fans being Toronto fans and not looking at the realistic side of things. But at the end of the day, Mitch Marner signing for what he did, believe it or not, is market value. Heck, Jared Spurgeon got $7.5 million. Okay, and I don't think he's worth that. He's a great defenseman, but I truly don't think he's worth Ryan Suter money. But at the end of the day, Ryan Suter's contract was huge back when he signed it. Now Mitch Marner's is huge when he signed it. As the cap continues to grow, this will be a good signing for Toronto. Mitch Marner got 94 points last year, a huge jump from his first year. A massive jump. Someone who is unsigned that I can't believe at this point is Braden Point.
Yeah, still.
Braden Point is a guy who has been 8 points, if not closer to Mitch Marner in terms of points. Yes, he's played on just as, if not good, a better of a team, but there's a guy that, you know, has to lead a line as a center, a winger, and is almost the same player. So does that mean that Point's going to get $10 million? Does Laine cover $10 million? Mitch Marner did set the tone for a lot of individuals, but in terms of the topic that we're talking with Mitch Marner in Toronto, it was a good fit. Dubas had to do it. Marner turned down offer sheets from Columbus and Minnesota, as Elliot Friedman released today, and it was a mode that he wanted to be in. He wanted to be there. He proved it. He signed a big deal, but there's still a good core of guys there. Toronto has a great team, and Mitch Marner is one of those leaders that's going to bring forward a potential Stanley Cup championship to Toronto.
All right, let's continue. Let's go to Butch Davis for his. We'll get one more topic in before our final break, and then we'll go to me for the first answer, and then EJ and Dave. So, Butch Davis, what's on your mind in the world of sports tonight, my friend?
I could talk about wrestling, but I'm not. Okay. Slap that in the face here, but there's a lot coming up there. I'll use that for next week. How about the officiating in National Football League and also in College Football League. Right now, the hit hasn't broke wind yet here. There's a lot of complaining, and rightfully so, on some of the calls being made on those particulars there. I want to get you guys' opinion on that.
Well, Butch, I'll start. We talked earlier about the Michigan State-Arizona State game, and obviously the officials made quite an error. What surprised me, I guess, in that is that you had Pac-12 officials officiating a Big Ten Pac-12 game. Now, I know it's up to the schools to decide who officiates out of which crew when it's interconference, but again, you go back to that game, Michigan State shot themselves in the foot several times, and so I'm not blaming that that non-call on Michigan State losing. They did it to themselves. However, the Pac-12 in their statement today stressed that, there will be accountability. Well, I'm still trying to figure out where this accountability happens when it comes to officials and when they err. And again, this is somebody that does officiating, and so I am understanding that sometimes the calls aren't there and are not correct. And boy, the New Orleans Saints once again were not that it cost them the game in this case, but there were calls in that game that just went against them again, and we see it in a lot of these NFL games. It's a little easier now for coaches to throw the challenge flag when it comes to pass interference and some other things, but there has to be accountability when these officials err in Major League Baseball, in the National Hockey League, in the NBA, in college. There has to be a rating system. There has to be some accountability. There has to be some consequences when officials get these things wrong and on a consistent basis. And I'm still trying to figure out if that's actually happening right now. I don't know. Maybe some of you can fill me in. EJ, we'll go to you for your thoughts, and then Dave.
Well, I 100% think that referees and umpires, regardless of what league you're talking about, need to be held accountable for mistakes. But I think that some of what we're dealing with right now is kind of the repercussions of what we've developed in officiating, and the fact that we're starting to rely so heavily on replay to get so many details right that we're always left up to human element. I think we've created our own monster here. The fact that we have so much coverage of all these games with so many different camera angles. Fans now have more access to the game than the people that are playing in it, and I think that can cause some tension, and that's what we're seeing a lot of in the NFL right now, is fans can clearly see from several different camera angles when stuff is missed or when it's called correctly or when it's not called correctly. And I just don't know that the officials necessarily have access to all of those angles as quickly as we do. And you would hope that they do. But because of the amount of coverage that we've created for these weeks, I truly believe that we've created our own monster. And now, to the remainder of forever, as far as the tendencies of the leagues are going, whether it's NCAA, NFL, or so on, we're going to be hypercritical of the officials because we can see all the mistakes. And I know I'm sounding like a broken record here, but people don't discuss that. The fact that we've created this mess and we want a perfect game. And guess what? Sports aren't perfect, okay? It's got the human element in it. And many of us have talked about that before. And I'm a fan of don't take the human element out of the game. I understand the need for reviewing pass interference in the NFL, especially after such an egregious mess last year in the playoffs between the Rams and the Saints. I understand the need, the want to put it in there. I don't think penalties should be reviewable because now it's going to be to the point where does it stop? Okay, pass interference is reviewable. Why isn't holding? Well, there's holding on every play in football, okay? We need to understand this is not a perfect game. This is not a perfect system, and we can't expect perfection. Yes, we can be upset when these egregious mistakes occur, but they are, in my opinion, few and far between. And my example that I use to back that is, go ahead and watch the next Major League Baseball game that's broadcasted on ESPN. When they put that strike box up there, watch how many times these umpires make incredibly accurate calls not having that digital box. For the most part, a lot of the technology has shown us about, to me, what a great job officials have done. Yes, they're going to miss calls. Scott, you've been an official and are an official. You've missed calls. Everybody does. It's okay. We're humans. The fact is, let's give these guys a little bit of slack. Let's understand that it's not a perfect system, and we do the best that we can. I don't want to say that the referees aren't blowing calls, because they are, but we've created this mess, and now we've got to sleep in the bed that we've made here.
Dave, your thoughts before we go to Butch to wrap up this segment?
And I'll keep it short and sweet. EJ, you hit the nail on the head on a lot of things. You did. So I'll say that I love the human element of the game. We are humans. We're bound to make mistakes. That's what makes it so realistic about the game. And that's the way the game has been. And that is how the game has evolved and evolved with. Is that now people are going to say, oh, Dave, well, we're evolving with the computer technology now. Sure. And you know what? The missed call last year between the Rams and Saints, that's a one-off in my opinion. Or if you want to go to Gilmore and Wayne Gretzky in the 93 playoffs, there's a lot of things that can go back in the past and current. But again, it's that human element that makes the sport so involved and gets you so upset or whatnot. I want the calls to be right, though, so I do understand the other side. I just hope they find a balance. There's got to be a balance. There always is. Heck, there's a balance in Star Wars, the balance of the Force.
Wow.
I'm sure they can find a balance in sports.
Nice
okay?
pull, Dave.
Okay.
Nice pull.
I'll say,
I like that.
I'll say right now, you will find a balance. They need to find that balance.
I think you just found it, Dave. Butch, follow that one up. A little Star Wars reference and talking about officiating. Your thoughts, sir?
That's a damn shame. You hit it.
I thought that was a good reference.
Thank you, AJ.
You said it. I didn't. The word I want to use there is accountability, okay? And I'm sorry to say that, but, these football leagues, and again, we're talking about college football, and again, the professional ranks as best there. Accountability is not being used as far as the people who should be looking at the film very closely than not there. And I don't mean no harm, okay, but if tennis can get it right, if soccer can get it right, if the NHL can get it right, and then on many occasions now when they use an instant replay, the NHL has been fantastic when it comes down to goal scoring and some other things that's been done. The NFL and also college football can get it right. Accountability. Get some people in there who would do their job. You're giving fans who created this mess a good opportunity to create some more mess. Because long time ago, we wasn't talking about gambling, okay? But again, that has been a questionable call that really and truly we should not be talking about. But again, it's going to be brought up. So why take it to that point? Let's get the call right. If it's not right on the field, get it right on the cameras. They have the shot. They have every position that we as a fan watch. They have that and more. The NFL films are one of the most fantastic film crews in the world. They got everything and then some. There's no reason those people who they put responsible to look at those calls don't get it right.
Great topic, Butch, and great topic so far tonight. Gentlemen, we're going to take our final break on the game. When we come back, we have time for one more topic, maybe even a shorter one, and then our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. That's coming up next on the game here on ESPN 1400.
Well, it's nearing the end of our beautiful summer, and if you'd like to kill two birds with one stone... Wait, that was just an expression. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, you can make some extra money by cleaning up around your home, garage, and yard. Gather your scrap metal and bring it to Reed Metals. Reed Metals pays $50 for a full, large General Motors catalytic converter and $6 per average car battery and $12 per semi-battery. Bring in scrap vehicles or any other recyclable metals and they'll print you a check. Reed Metals, the honest one-stop metal recycling business. Visit reedmetals.com or call 906-632-0018. Reed Metals, 13 miles south of the Sioux on Mackinac Trail. Reed Metals is only minutes away from helping you make money before the summer ends. No birds were harmed during this production, nor were any actual stones thrown.
Paul Thompson here with Gaylor Thompson Sales and Service just off I-75 in Rudyard, inviting you to stop in and see the largest selection of equipment in the eastern Upper Peninsula. To complement our full line of Mahindra tractors, we have trailers including goosenecks, dumps, cargoes, car haulers, and utility trailers. We also have a full line of lawn and garden equipment with Cub Cadet and Exmark. Over 50 mowers to choose from, a full line of parts, and we service what we sell. Looking for an outdoor wood or pellet furnace or parts? We stock water pumps, exchangers, spec supplies, and more. Also, check out our full line of Boss and Fisher snow and ice equipment. Here at Gaylor Thompson and Rudyard, we are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturdays, 9 to noon for your convenience. Just off I-75 in Rudyard, 30 minutes from the bridge. If you need it, we have it. Give us a call at 906-478-3026. Hope to see you here.
You can catch podcasts of the game at thegamesportshow.com. Now let's get back to it with Scott Nason here on ESPN 1400.
Welcome back to the game on ESPN 1400 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason and Dave McKeag here in the studios, along with their broadcast engineer, Alyssa Bradley. We're continued to be joined by Butch Davis from Metro Detroit and EJ Russell from Escanaba, Michigan. And this is the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Heard every Monday night here on ESPN 1400 from 6 to 8 o'clock. And we're in the national portion of the show and our roundtable. We have time for one more topic here tonight before we get to our thumbs up and thumbs down. And it's my turn to start. And I believe we go to EJ first and then Dave and then Butch. And I want to talk a little bit more about NFL Week 2. And right now, gentlemen, tonight's game does not feature any of the undefeated teams in the NFL. We have 10 of them. Some not surprising. Others may be surprising. So just going through the list before, I want to get your thoughts on maybe some of those that are not surprising and some of those that are very surprising. You have the New England Patriots at 2-0. I don't think many people are surprised there. Buffalo at 2-0, winning both New York teams or beating both New York teams. Baltimore is 2-0. In the AFC, Kansas City is 2-0. And so I don't know, many surprises there. NFC, Cowboys 2-0. The Packers 2-0. The Lions undefeated at 1-0-1. We're going to count them in there just because, well, we can. And then you have the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks all 2-0. So my question is, we'll go to you first, Dave. Of those teams, which one are you not surprised about, and which one do you think has potential to maybe even finish the regular season undefeated? And which one of those teams, maybe more, are you very surprised early on?
See, I don't even want to say New England or Kansas City being undefeated, but I got to say I'm not surprised with them. Out of the two, I see New England potentially being the one that ends up undefeated. I don't even want to say it, but that's the team I got to go with. But the team that doesn't surprise me, and people may not agree with this, but the San Francisco 49ers. I'm a fan. Jimmy Garoppolo. I like what San Francisco is putting on the field.
Both road games too.
And I'm impressed with their playing. I think they're a team that no one should be surprised with this. I think they're a talented football team. I think they are a wild card / playoff football team. I have said that since all summer, and I'm excited to see what a full season of Jimmy Garoppolo can do that's healthy and getting the opportunity to play. But the main team that does surprise me, to answer that portion, the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills. No, not the Detroit Lions, even though we threw that in there. The Buffalo Bills. Yes, though, they beat both New York teams. Okay, it's not like they beat New England. It's not like they beat Kansas City or any of those teams, but still, New York Jets are an improved football team.
Both on the road, correct?
And they're both on the road as well. As far as I believe that's correct. I think that yesterday was. I may be correct if I'm wrong there by one of you three. But I will say right now, the Buffalo's are in 2-0. I am a little surprised about, because I thought they were going to be a dumpster fire this year, okay, along with other teams. But you know what? I am proven wrong so far. For them to be 2-0, I only predicted Buffalo to get 3 to 4. Actually, I did say 4 on radio, so I got to stick with that. 4 wins is what I thought Buffalo was going to get, and they're 2 wins away from that. So right now, that's what I got to say around those teams, and a team that's going to keep it up. I said it right off the top, New England. They're keeping it up. I'm going to tell you, they're going to be 15-1 by the end of the year. That is my honest prediction.
I'm glad I had their defense in one of my fantasy leagues.
And
fantastic.
I had actually a bad week sort of in fantasy. I started the year great, but anyway, I got to say that's going to be my round out so far. But I got to give an asterisk to the Steelers. That's turned out to be a little bit of a dumpster fire. If Mason doesn't have a good start next game, starting the year 0-3, Steelerland won't like that, and they're gonna pretty much throw this season in the trash if that happens.
EJ, we'll go to you for your thoughts on my topic.
Well, I agree with Dave. I think that the most surprising team right now, as far as the undefeated teams goes, got to be San Francisco 49ers. This is a team right now that's third in the league in point differential with plus 38, okay? They have 70, and I'm going to point this out because this will sound surprising to many of our listeners. The San Francisco 49ers have 72 points for and 34 points again. That's a 31-17 and a 41-17 win, okay? The Kansas City Chiefs, who are touted to be one of the best offenses in this league, have 68 points for and 36 again. 6 points back from the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm not pointing out because I think that that's something that's going to end up that way at the end of the year. But what I'm saying here is that the San Francisco 49ers are playing better football than people realize they're playing. And you should start taking a look now and paying attention to them now, because there's a reason that Tom Brady didn't want Jimmy G backing him up anymore. Jimmy Garoppolo has a ton of talent, and I think is a smart enough guy that he can figure out how to play this game. So watch for them to continue to be significant. I think the other surprising team to me at 2-0 is not necessarily a record, but the Baltimore Ravens, in the way that they're doing this. Lamar Jackson is playing above the rim here, playing exceptional football, doing things that no player has ever done in this league. I think I saw a stat line the other day. He's the first quarterback to throw for over 250 yards and rush for over 120. He did that last week. I mean, this is a guy that has incredible talent, and nobody questioned that. But I think what's surprising people is his arm talent this year and his ability to throw the football, and I think that that's where he's blowing people away. I think the worst undefeated team right now, and I won't pick on the Lions because Happy you're there. Go ahead, hang out and enjoy it right now while you got it.
We will.
I think that the worst team that I've seen on paper, the team that I'm most concerned about with the 2-0 start, has to be Green Bay Packers. This is a team that is showing up defensively and performing as far as that side of football goes. But you got a guy in Aaron Rodgers that needs to throw more than 2 touchdowns a week, and he needs to throw for over 300 yards. That's an expectation that fans and specifically fantasy owners have for him. So I have some concerns with Green Bay. I don't see Buffalo. I'm not going to mention them because, yeah, you're 2-0 right now. Yeah, you beat the Jets and the Giants. Let's see how you do when New England comes on the schedule because you got to play them. I just don't see them continue to have that kind of success going forward. They play in a slightly tougher division, having to go against New England Patriots 2 times a year. So we'll see how that plays out. But watch for Green Bay to struggle in some of these upcoming games against some harder competition, and continue to watch San Francisco because if they keep playing in a way that they're only giving up 17 points a game, they're going to end up with double-digit wins this season.
Yeah, and Buffalo will play the Patriots in Week 4 for that. So, Butch Davis, your thoughts on NFL undefeated or unbeaten teams?
No, I don't care. I don't care about none of it anymore here. If we had a playoff today, we have Kansas City, New England, Baltimore, and Indianapolis, the division leaders. And the wild card will be Buffalo and Houston. No Oakland Raiders in there at all there, although I think they're going to be a better team than people think, give them credit for. And on the other side of the business, NFC there'll be Green Bay, Los Angeles Rams, Dallas Cowboys, the Tampa Bay team, okay? Division leaders there. San Francisco and Seattle will get a nod there. All those teams are very good doggone teams. The Lions are right behind Seattle there. Great chance they can get in there, huh, boys and girls? And they're playing Philadelphia next week. A lot's going to change, but my team will be Buffalo, okay? Buffalo is looking doggone good. They got the sloppiest doggone offense I've ever seen in my life here. But that guy named Allen, who is the quarterback for their team, he knows how to improvise like a hawk can improvise on flop here. And he is very, very good when it comes down to that, just holding fort for that particular team. The defense is outstanding for Buffalo there. So if I had to give a surprise, it would have to be the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Butch, I agree they are my surprise team. We'll see how they do when they play some better opponents. But, hey, anytime you take on a division rival and win, that's good. Anytime you win a game on the road in the NFL. That's good. New England, I mean, they look like New England, and you add Antonio Brown, at least for now, on that team. They just have so many weapons. I like what you said, EJ, about Baltimore. I mean, they're just a different look Baltimore team with Lamar Jackson. Kansas City, nobody's surprised. That offense is potent, and you look at yesterday's game, Mahomes has no touchdown passes in the first quarter. He gets 4 in the second, and they roll. Looking in the NFC, Green Bay, kind of a question mark there, but anytime you win division games at home or on the road, that's good. They've won both of theirs. Obviously, the Lions, very thrilled that they're undefeated. And you look at this NFC West right now, obviously Arizona's not one of these teams, but they're fun to watch with Kyler Murray and their antics. Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams. You know, who knows what's going to happen there? I think San Francisco looks very good, but again, they haven't played really stellar competition in Cincinnati and Tampa. However, they put up a lot of points, and both of those games have been on the road. Seattle's kind of won ugly in 2 games. They, won on the road against Pittsburgh. They win at home against Cincinnati. But the one team I'm really watching right now is Dallas, because I think they have the chance to really have a long run to beginning of the season as far as victories. They have the Saints in a couple weeks minus Drew Brees, and watch out for that Dallas team. They very well could get the number 1 seed in the NFC, being in that division and the way they're playing. Gentlemen, we got about 4 minutes left, so enough time for our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week. Dave, we'll go to you first, then EJ, and then Butch. So, Dave, your thumbs up and thumbs down for this week.
I gotta give a thumbs up. Believe it or not, I'm gonna go to the Toronto Maple Leafs route with getting Mitch Marner locked up. I think that's quite obvious that I was gonna go that route. Be a lot of Mitch Marner talk, especially on the Canada side of the show this week. So, I definitely got to give the thumbs up there to Mitch Marner to getting the money he wants, and also Kyle Dubas for getting the job done. I know we had discussion that it took too long, but hey, they got it done. He'll be ready for puck drop. Now, if I'm going to go the thumbs down route, I got to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Starting the year 0-2, definitely disappointing. Big Ben going down for the year. Oh, I thought this year was going to be a good year even without Brown and Bell. I thought maybe a wild card spot, but I know it's only 2 games in, but it's looking quite bleak if you're a Steeler fan.
EJ Russell, your thumbs up and thumbs down for this week, sir.
Thumbs up for the week. Got to go with Monday Night Football. Cleveland Browns played the New York Jets. First ever matchup of Monday Night Football 50 years ago. Browns won that matchup. Let's see if they can do it again here for the 50th anniversary of Monday Night Football. Let's go Browns. Look to see them bounce back and continue to improve on the poor performance last week. Thumbs down for the week. I got to give the injuries in the NFL. These are the kind of things that can wreck a team season, but selfishly, it's wrecking my fantasy football season. These guys need to stop getting hurt. Come on, guys, get it together. I don't know how I can have half my team go down on 1 week, but somebody needs to take an ice bath or something. Help me help myself. I'm being a little selfish. Quit getting hurt.
Go Browns and go Mayfield for my fantasy football team. Butch Davis, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, sir.
Those officials, thumbs down. Now, thumbs up here, and I'm going off the board, boys and girls here. If you watch the show called America Got Talent, okay, there's a group of kids out there who are turning the world upside down. That's the Detroit Youth Choir. They will be on tomorrow night, and Wednesday is the finalization there for $1 million. Everybody watch the show. Let's root for a state of Michigan and our kids out there. Those kids have been fantastic. Get out there and vote on the American Got Talent. You can vote 10 times. And if you got some clothes and wear purple tomorrow and Wednesday there, boys and girls.
Very good, Butch. We'll definitely be watching that indeed. Thumbs up here locally for the local hockey season really ramping up this week. We have the Sioux Eagles on ESPN 1400 Saturday night against the Sioux Thunderbirds. Over on Rock 101, we have the Sioux Greyhounds opening up their regular season at home against the Flint Firebirds on Friday night. And we have the Wings and NHL preseason starting this week. It's hockey time in mid-September. I am ready for that. Thumbs down. USA basketball and the FIBA World Cup finishing, I believe, 7th.
Good one.
Over in China. Not a good result. Hopefully they'll field a little better team for the Olympics coming up here in, less than a year. Hard to believe. That's going to do it for... Yes, they do. Yes, they do. That's going to do it for this week's edition of The Game. You can hear this show along with our shows from Sioux, Ontario, Butch on Sports, and other local sports all on the website, thegamesportshow.com. Want to thank our broadcast engineer, Alyssa Bradley, here in the ESPN 1400 studio, helping us out as always. Want to thank Dave McKeag for joining us, along with Butch Davis and EJ Russell. And we will talk to you next Monday night here on ESPN 1400 for another edition of The Game. We'll talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to The Game here on ESPN 1400 WKNW, Sault Ste. Marie's sports leader. Check us out next Monday at 6 for the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You can hear the podcast of the show and other broadcasts at thegamesportshow.com.